It's projects like that which help bring new money into the Louisiana state budget. However, with lawmakers staring down a budget hole of $1.6 billion, cuts to state programs are pretty much guaranteed. This week in Louisiana Agriculture's AJ Sabine is standing by with a man who knows the legislative process very well. AJ?
That's right, Avery. Everyone has budget on their minds right now, particularly in light of the state's $1.6 billion budget deficit, and many people have questions about what's to come out of this year's session. Joining us now to answer questions about what's going to come out of this year's legislative session is Joe Mapes, the Louisiana Farm Bureau's legislative director. And Joe, with redistricting going on right now, should farmers care about what's going to come out of this redistricting session before the regular session starts?
Certainly they should, AJ. You know, regardless of the outcome, you've got until April 13th. Today is the 4th of April. It started on March 20th. It was a 3-week session whereby we take the census figures that are put out every 10 years and we redraw the lines according to demographics and other statistics in the U.S. in the U.S. Census. Now, why it's important to us is, you know, regardless of how those numbers come out, we've got to deal with the legislators and congressmen and senators that are elected in that process. So the point is, it's got to go all the way through this process, the House and the Senate in the state of Louisiana, but ultimately it's got to be approved or rejected by the U.S. Justice Department. 10 years ago, U.S. Justice rejected those lines and redrew all kinds of things for us. I've been told that Louisiana's current lines are 177% out of sync with the U.S. Census figures. So when we get those legislators, men and women that come out of this process, the importance for farmers is if you don't know these legislators, because some of them are going to be new, running in districts they've never run in before, get to know them, because we go straight into a regular session which begins April 25th and goes through June 23rd. That's when that $1.6 billion deficit is going to be looming that you referred to earlier. That's when it's going to be important for legislators to be educated and knowledgeable by farmers so that they know what they can do to help us in the legislature.
Moving forward, when we get into the regular session, what are some bills that you think that farmers need to be aware of that's going to affect them coming out of the regular session?
You know, so far this session, we've got some pre-filed legislation, but nothing that is jumping out at us as far as negative legislation. And we're not seeking anything aggressively for Farm Bureau and Agriculture this year. You know, we want to kind of keep our powder dry for something later. I mean, we understand that with the Ag Department, the LSU Ag Center, and private agriculture ourselves, we're all being asked to do more with less, and we understand that, and you know, all the agencies, all the departments are having to do the same thing. But right now, we're not seeing anything as far as a package or any one or two specific bills coming our way that we're going to have to fight negatively. But stay tuned. We've got a long way to go before pre-filing deadline is over and before the final filing deadline is over as well.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
Thank you, AJ.
He is Joe Mapes, the Louisiana Farm Bureau Legislative Director. Avery, you heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Farmers need to be paying attention and they need to get involved.
Thanks, AJ. It's going to be a tough session. Well, still to come on This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, you may have only heard about them in a nursery rhyme, but they're one of the tastiest ways to celebrate Easter.